distance at 300 feet, the experts change the firing angle and increase the tension by pulling the ammunition further back.
Oh, a direct hit.
This proves that Alexander's men could have operated the ballista from beyond the firing range of the enemy's catapults.
Got some good shots off. We got a couple of solid hits in here. I think this was certainly our best shot here, and it really demonstrates the destructive power of this, and that we bent the entire side of the van. This could do a tremendous amount of damage.
Alexander's weapon makes it possible for him to smash through the walls of Thebes, ending forever the protection cities had behind thick stone walls.
From this point onwards, there was nowhere to run. There was nowhere that was safe from Alexander's army.
More than 6,000 people in Thebes are slaughtered. A once great city is brought down by a young man just out of his teens.
Don't be fooled by the heroic image. Behind the boyish good looks, Alexander's basically Saddam Hussein. One minute he's your best mate, the next minute he's cutting your head off. So when the city of Thebes rebels, he doesn't just punish it, he destroys it. He's basically saying to all the other Greek cities out there, cross me at your peril. And you know what? It works.
In Thebes, 30,000 survivors, including women and children, are sold into slavery. Alexander has terrified the rest of Greece into submission. They'll never rebel against Alexander again. Now, he's ready to terrify the known world. Alexander the Great, at just 20 years of age, has crushed the rebel city of Thebes. Now he plans a military campaign not even his father ever achieved. He's about to take on the mighty Persian Empire. The beachhead for Alexander's great invasion is the city of Troy, scene of legendary battles between Greeks and Trojans. For Alexander, it's a pilgrimage. He's been raised on stories of fabled Greek warriors, and most of all, the superhero, Achilles.
Alexander wanted to be another Achilles. This was his role model. Achilles' mother had told Achilles he had a choice in life. He could either die old and be forgotten, or die young and be remembered forever. Alexander, as he came here to Troy, had made his choice.
Alexander has good reason to feel close to Achilles and believe he too is supernaturally gifted. It's all his mum's doing.
Alexander's very ambitious mother enables him to feel special, tells him that he's going to do great things. In fact, she may have told him that he was descended from the gods. This is reinforced by his tutors, who give him the nickname Achilles, the greatest Greek warrior of all.
Now that he's paid his dues to his hero, Alexander heads for Persia, long-standing enemies of the ancient Greeks. Here, on the banks of the river Granicus, he confronts the forces of King Darius III.
With Philip out of the way, Alexander inherits the conquest of Persia. And he justifies this as a punishment for the Persians desecrating the Greek temples during the Persian War. It's a crusade, if you like, a war of vengeance against an ancient act of terror perpetrated more than a century ago. And of course, it's just an excuse. Alexander storms into Turkey and encounters a Persian army sent to stop him here on the banks of the river Granicus. And this is the first time that Alexander wins in typical style. 3,000 are surrounded and cut down. It's a bloody massacre. 2,000 more surrender, but they are sold into slavery by Alexander as a kind of warning not to cross it.
It's a stunning victory. According to the sources, Alexander loses fewer than 200 troops and gives strength to his claim to be the new Achilles. The Persians are on the defensive, and Turkey now belongs to Alexander.
Once he's secured Turkey, he doesn't do the obvious strategic thing. He doesn't race east to secure the ports of the eastern Mediterranean before the Persians can reinforce them. Instead, he diverts north to this place called Gordium. That just seems really bizarre, unless you know the legend of the Gordian knot.
The story went that in the palace of the former kings of Phrygia there was a knot that tied an ox cart to a pin in the ground. And this knot was impenetrable. For centuries, no one had been able to undo it. And the story went that the person who could would be lord of all of Asia. Alexander couldn't resist the temptation to try his hand at this, the ultimate test. He came to Gordium, he stood in front of the knot, but instead of trying to untie it like everyone else had done, he simply took out his sword and slashed straight through the knot. This was a very Alexander-type solution, going straight for the jugular of the matter, preferably with a weapon in his hand. He left Gordium with the prophecy well behind him that he would be lord of all of Asia.
Alexander is conquering countries in the ancient world like a tourist checks off fabled destinations on a schedule. And Alexander creates his own legend as he goes, that I play by my own rules. Untying knots, that's for the little people.
It's like cheating your way into Harvard, only later you tell everybody it's legitimate, you just found a novel way. Alexander needs continued evidence that he's special, almost divine.
Alexander is successful at spinning his own legend. The image of him as a handsome hero, built like a god, has survived to this day. His true physical appearance may not have been so godlike. One theory has him suffering from a deformity of the spines called scoliosis, because so many of his statues have him looking off to one side. Ancient sources also wrote that he was 4 inches shorter than an average man's height, then 5 feet 7 inches tall. But what Alexander possesses more than height or even looks is enormous self-confidence. His mother's hero worship helped, as does his self-proclaimed divine destiny. Together, these attributes will take him to the edge of the world and back again. 332 BC. Alexander the Great has beaten the Persians in what is modern-day Turkey. He's now seeking his next conquest. He targets the fortified city of Tyre on an island half a mile off the coast of present-day Lebanon.
Attacking the island of Tyre amounts to suicide. This is a city that can't be beat. You have to approach it by ship and attack these massive walls. Impossible.
But just like he proved with Gordium's magic knot, impossible isn't a word that Alexander accepts.
Alexander changes the rules. He extends the roadway from the mainland to the island, so the island is no longer isolated. It's now part of the coast.
The causeway allows Alexander to unleash his fearsome ballistas. They pound the city into submission, and the aftermath is horrific. Alexander loots the city, slaughters 8,000 citizens, and crucifies 2,000 enemy soldiers on this very beach.
Alexander's brutality, raping women and killing all the prisoners, sends shockwaves through all of Asia. And that psychological shock and fear prompts many cities to immediately open up their gates and submit to Alexander rather than face defeat and slaughter. The message is clear: do not mess with Alexander.
For Alexander, Tyre is further confirmation of his godlike destiny. Asia now belongs to him, just like the prophecy said.
Alexander continues to believe he's special. Whenever anybody resists him, he takes it as a personal affront. He not only defeats them, he massacres them.